powered by Reviting, streaming from the Reviting Digital Studio. It's the David Daily. Exploring frontier technology, artificial intelligence, quantum innovation, and the intersection of faith, funding, and the future. Here's your host, David Goki.
Welcome to the David Daily today on Saturday. It is so great to be here. I love going live on all platforms, and it is a beautiful day. You can see here I'm actually streaming live from my vehicle. I am a digital nomad, and I am just loving life these days, traveling a lot and really wanting to showcase the current events around funding, faith, and the future. If you tuned in yesterday, we had a very, very special post-Christmas holiday, after Christmas holiday, and I hopefully that you, whether you celebrate Christmas or whether you don't, you're really enjoying this. And I do apologize ahead of time if this feed is a little bit laggy. It will be something very interesting to focus in on because we'll be seeing a lot of little things happening along the way. And if we need to record this afterwards, we definitely will with maybe better internet or whatever. And so the focus today is really about funding, faith, and future. What's happening this week? What do we see this week? And what's really going to go down on the news for today? So we actually see that China issues draft AI rules for human-like systems. Winter storms disrupt the U.S. Northeast travel. We saw a lot of snow come in this past week. And so that's quite interesting. We also see that D-Wave quantum stock slides after an 8% drop. Target stocks jump on activist stakes report. Also, Netflix holds near $94 ahead of Monday. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with Netflix this coming week, this last trading week before New Year's Day. And a new calendar year comes to our calendars. Now, Ambassador secures $7 million in funding for AI engagement platform. This is one of the latest funding updates. And of course, crypto forecasts spotlight AI and quantum risks in 2026. Of course, Russia is testing a 72 qubit atom-based quantum computer. Ukraine is also in the mix as the Ukraine conflict is escalating ahead of talks. And Waymo outage actually raises AV readiness questions. So with that, we're actually going to head over to our special segment, which is our special segment on the news section for today. That's right. China drafts regulation for human-like interaction. Folks, according to Reuters Health and Reuters News, China has drafted a release of their draft rules. So interesting to me. They're going to regulate AI with human-like interaction. And this actually is very interesting from Reuters Health. In fact, this human-like content and interactions are aiming to shape responsible AI governance and safety. Of course, we mentioned that winter storms are disrupting the Northeast travel. Good to see you, Liz, and others on the live stream. A post-holiday winter storm, unlike none we've ever seen, recently caused widespread flight delays and cancellations, highlighting operational fragilities in the traveling infrastructure. Of course, we mentioned, according to tech stock, quantum stock action, D-Wave slides. So we're looking actually at a company called D-Wave. If you have not heard of them, they are someone to follow. And very interesting in the quantum news sector. Their stock fell about 8% in thin holiday trading this week, prompting investor focus on valuation and catalysts ahead of reopening. Of course, we also have Target stock jumping on activist stake news. We see that Target is actually jumping on activist stake news. We find it very interesting that Target Corp shares are climbing after reports of an activist investor established a stake, fueling speculation that, in fact, the strategic moves and capital allocation, there may be some differences of opinions there. So we're very interested in that. And we also see that Netflix is holding a against a weak open. We had mentioned that Netflix stock, and with that, we see that actually their stock price was actually around $94 late in the week, and investors are assessing streaming narratives and subscriber trends before market open. We know that subscriber platforms have had a challenge lately, and we know that because there actually has been many things that have led us to believe that. And so that's why we're focused on Netflix as well. And finally, startup funding investor raises $7 million, according to AI Insider, a news source that we follow. And ambassadors securing $7 million to do what? Expanding AI-driven customer feedback. We sense that this is going to be a very interesting and unique startup who is driving feedback and alignment for an engagement platform. Very, very fun to be following here early on a Saturday, December 27th. So great to have you all here. Thank you for folks who are joining. And if you're joining for the first time, look, we've got LinkedIn marketing on YouTube popping off. We also have X platform as well as Twitch and Facebook. We're seeing this consistently show up. So thank you for joining. Please like, comment, subscribe. We would love to see you on our show if that's something that you're interested in. And if you're thinking about joining, go ahead and go to David Daily. We would love to see you over there. And especially as we continue to focus on all of the things that really matter near you, we see that many, many pieces are coming across the airwaves today as we look to our current events, our quantum news, with a very specific focus on funding. That's right. We are back. Thank you so much for tuning in to the David Daily, where we talk about funding, faith, and future. I see Kenzie, Liz, many others across all platforms. Thank you. We also see Jawad, Abby, Reggie. If you're tuning in for the very first time, please go ahead and post a comment. It looks like we've got some folks on the Kick platform as well, which is great. And as we look to the faith in the future for today, we're going to go into our faith topics, our faith current news, human dignity in a complex world. As global events unfold from market moves to conflict zones, faith communities are focusing on dignity, compassion, and shared responsibility. We love to hear that and see that also. Um, we want to focus on human dignity, compassion, and of course, shared responsibility, reminding us that technological and economic activity must serve people, not eclipse their well being. That's exactly right. Must eclipse their, not eclipse their well being, but serve people. And we're actually seeing, amid many opportunities to be disruptive, we actually seeing unity, and we're really loving that unity that we're seeing from post-holiday travel turmoil to that's exactly right. Google is saying that geopolitical tensions and post-holiday travel might have people up in arms, but faith traditions continue to come forward and call the community for unity, for resilience, and for stewardship, urging leaders and communities to respond with kindness and ethical clarity. That is something that obviously we care about and we want you to care about as well. We're actually seeing that global unity occurring in action. We love to see that. And in fact, not only do we love to see that, we love to see that at scale when possible, of course, because as you know, we care about all of the things, especially when it comes to unity, when it comes to bringing people together for the human rights. That is very important. And even though there may be disruption, there may be war, we want to focus on the aspects of human dignity and bringing that to fruition each and every day. So, with that, we're actually going to move over to our latest segment, which is about the future of technology. And we're back for our final segment, the focus on future technology. crypto markets and tech forecasts for 2026. Who wants to hear about that? I love to talk about this as well. Pantera Capital Research outlines 12 crypto predictions for 2026, covering AI trading, quantum risks, and of course, other considerations and broader digital asset trends. If you have watched this for the first time, I am not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice, but we see that in 2026, we believe that digital asset is class is going to increase. We're going to see that actually happen not only just in crypto, but also across Bitcoin as well, because we know that the financial markets typically are going up, and we typically have a perspective of buy and hold, dollar cost average go up. That's what we want to see personally, and we know that you might be considering that as well. Here's a very simple graph showing you the digital asset class in 2026, as the Bitcoin outlook is quite bullish. And in fact, as we see other digital currencies coming into play as well, we know that this is an aspect of the markets, the financial markets, and with the investment in AI and quantum, we perceive that most likely the crypto markets and tech will be forecasted to be a future, especially with Pantera Capital, which is a capital firm that we're following here, getting free stock analysis. They're actually very bullish on the future of AI and tech as well. So we think that, you know what, this might be a year for us to consider which investments are being made into not only AI, but also into quantum. Here is Pantera, the company on Block and Nomi. And so, in short, capital efficiency, especially with consumer credit, will emerge as crypto lending's next frontier using AI models. We believe that the frontier for faith will also be disrupted as well with crypto. And quantum computing breakthroughs will force Bitcoin institutions to develop contingency strategies, as previously we learned that actually it's very interesting that we're seeing crypto firms needing to have quantum security and quantum focus in their focus this year, as quantum security, cybersecurity is genuinely taking off. Now, with that being said, we're very excited to share with you that we have another bit of news and focus as we look into the capital markets again and close out this show. Autonomous system readiness is very highly questioned. Why? Because Waymo, what happened with Waymo? They had an outage. So, what happens when your autonomous driver outage goes out? You don't get to go anywhere. So, that's very interesting. Waymo, as you know, has been an interesting company. They are the ones who focus primarily on autonomous vehicles. We see that being a very key focus of their strategy this year. And in fact, Waymo has been actually struggling with that. We think that the Waymo autonomous cars will still be a little bit behind. There was a power outage actually in San Francisco that led to a stalling in the robo taxis. How crazy is that? Spring debate over autonomous vehicles and their preparedness in crisis conditions. What happens when these Waymo robo taxis get stopped? The Washington Post saw that a secret army of humans actually rose up to offer everyone who was in a Waymo a ride. How awesome. We love when the human to human component comes in, especially because there was a flash flood in San Francisco. So when disaster strikes, you can always count on humans to lead the way. And that's one of the reasons why we really like the human component, the human condition on the show. And so you can see right here, actually, Waymo was pausing their items, their cars in San Francisco on Christmas Day. So we find that to be actually quite fascinating, because technology always underperforms, humans always perform. And then finally, as we look at AI Invest, Strategic Quantum Investment Outlook reports suggest that the quantum computing market may actually grow rapidly to about 3.5 billion, which was in 2025, to over 20 billion by 2030. We know that this is a very bullish claim, but we're obviously bullish on blockchain ourselves and on quantum computing, especially as strategic investments. Again, this is not financial advice. We are not strategic advisors. However, we would say very strongly that we are investing a lot of our energy and effort into understanding quantum computing, and all of those things as well. We see that a strategic 2026 investment play with diversified exposure really is that 2026 outlook as we look to quantum computing taking over the scene and being a real threat this year. Anyways, that's so interesting. So we're just going to highlight that here and say that if you're not investing in quantum computing, maybe it's time to make that shift to actually come back to quantum computing. Anyways, we're going to be back right after this quick intermission segment. All right, we are back and we are we are finally at our Beyond the Bag segment. And today I just wanted to say thank you to all the people who are watching, listening, commenting, subscribing for this special edition on a Saturday in a digital nomad car. So today our Beyond the Bag segment is this right here. We carry this cord, which is a 6-foot USB cord, and it plugs into your car. It plugs into your any USB that you would see anywhere around the world. We're actually seeing that show up. Awesome. And it actually has 3 connectors right here. So this is our Beyond the Bag segment for today. We want you to travel often and carry phone chargers with you. This one has a USB mini, a Type C, and a lightning cable. This comes in super handy. We saw that even David S. Rose has a mini charger with multiple adapters. All right, with that, we're going to close it out for the show today. Reflection on resilient clarity and transition. So, as we enter the final days of 2025, volatility in markets, policy shifts, and technological inflection points require leaders to act with purpose over panic. We seek durable insights over short term excitement, and we anchor our decisions in values and long term impact. Of course, we treat disruption as an invitation to redefine vision and strengthen execution. So today's invitation is to lead with clarity and compassion because that is what actually outlasts hype. And with that, we're going to outro today. Thank you for tuning in today to the future of faith and technology and funding. Thank you so much. We will see you on the show tomorrow. Stay tuned for the David Daily on funding, faith, and future. Talk to you soon, my friends.